everybody, this is Toy Lei. I'm with the Valley Film Festival. This year is I don't know, the umpteenth time it is, just to give you some background, I am not some random person. I actually am an alumni of the Valley Film Festival, and it's always an honor to introduce the new people who are coming up. I enjoy meeting the new filmmakers because they're always, Tracy always curates a great festival, in my opinion. So without further ado, we've got Mike Peebler. Mike, why don't you reintroduce yourself and tell us where you're from and all that kind of, just the basic intro for now.
Sure thing. Hi, my name is Mike Peebler. I'm originally from Houston, but I live in LA in the Valley. I'm a VFF alum as well. This is my third trip to VFF.
Okay, right
on. So I too am a big fan of Tracy and the festival and the way she curates a program, and I'm always delighted when I get to be a part of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And tell us the name of the film, the piece that you have.
Yes, it is a short film entitled Foreclosure.
And a genre?
It's a comedy, a little bit of a dark comedy. In fact, I like to call it an action comedy.
Right on, right on. So, well, give us the premise.
Sure. The premise is that there's a married couple who seems very much like they do not like each other, and they have come to look at a foreclosed home as a possible first home to buy. And there is a real estate agent showing it to them who is extremely desperate and motivated to make the sale. And the movie follows the showing of the house to the married couple.
And Mike, what was your part in this?
I was the director and the co-writer.
Nice, nice. So why don't you tell us? Well, first of all, did you make this during COVID?
We made it. We actually put it in the can just before COVID.
Oh, so you got lucky. Oh, yeah.
Yes. and then when COVID hit, we were in post already, and I said, you know what? We're just going to sit on the movie. I don't want to do virtual festivals. We're just going to sit on it and finish the post, and then just wait. And so we did that, and thank goodness, because for me, the idea, the whole joy of this is sitting in an audience, as any filmmaker knows, is sitting with a live audience watching your movie. And so we've avoided the virtual film festival. We've been able to screen in front of an audience, and I'm delighted about that.
Fantastic, fantastic. So you actually maybe finished this a year ago?
Yep, it was. We finished the post of it it was about a year ago that we finished post, and then I waited to see what was going to happen with the pandemic. Were movies ever going to come back, or what? Because as you know, it's an expensive and time-consuming ordeal submitting your film to a bunch of festivals. So I wasn't going to do that in the middle of all the uncertainty of life. I was going to waited until things seemed to be getting better. We had a vaccine, and then started submitting it.
So was it killing you though? You had this thing that was in the can and it was just like ready to go, and you're just like, oh my God.
Totally. It was very much an exercise in patience to just wait and wait and wait. I showed it to a couple of friends here and there, but for the most part, we just had to wait. Yeah.
So what was, now I've seen this film and it's highly amusing. For people who know me, I'm really into action films, which is probably why Tracy asked me to interview you. But what scene for you was the most difficult to shoot? I mean, have you shot action before?
Yeah, I've done action before, but the thing about this movie that really was special for us is that it's a one-take movie, right? It's 8 minutes, one take, no cuts with stunts. So for me, that was the real excitement, was how to do stunts and shoot the entire movie in one continuous take.
Right on. I didn't even know I wasn't paying attention. My fault.
No, well, that's actually my greatest hope. To me, that means it was executed so well, right? If it's
I just follow the story.
You're not the only person who's had that experience. And the fact, actually, I'm delighted that as a filmmaker, you didn't even notice that. That makes me happy, because otherwise it feels like a device or a gimmick but for us, the one take was the way we felt we could best sort of build the tension and tell the story. And the fact that it doesn't get in the way of the storytelling. I actually am delighted that you didn't even realize it was a
No,
one-take.
that makes me all warm on the inside. That's fantastic. So let me ask you this: how many one take wonders did you do?
We shot it once because
Wow.
as you remember from the movie, because I don't want to give too much away, but we destroy some things.
Yeah, yeah.
So we only shot it once because some things were broken and some damage was done. And so we were really, really nervous rolling the camera.
Fantastic. Well, that is a feat because you've got some great destruction going on in there. And so my question was that a house or was that a set?
Here's the impetus for the whole project was a friend of mine sold her house to a developer who was going to tear it down and build an apartment building.
Oh my God. So it was already going to be torn down.
So as soon as she told me that she had made a sale, the light bulb went off in my head. And I because she told me, well, that they're going to tear it down. And I went, she's in the business too. I immediately said to her, can I use it as a location and do whatever I want to it after you move out? She was like, yeah, of course. So we had a brief window of time after they moved out, before they sort of handed over the keys to the developer, that we got in there.
It's like a 3-day grace period. You've got 3 days.
We had a tiny window of time and we could do whatever we wanted. So I went to my writing partner and I said, Mark, he's my writing partner. He plays the real estate agent. And I said, we have a location. We can do whatever we want to a house. What do we want to write? And this is what we came up with.
Well, I love it. And I think it's fabulous. The backstory is even more fabulous than I could have possibly imagined. So I'm assuming that if there's a sequel, there's not really a sequel, unless you have another friend who could in the same situation.
Yeah, I'd need another house.
Yeah. Where else have you shown this? Is it just their living room or other festivals, and how have audiences been reacting to this?
Yeah, it's been so much fun. We premiered at Dances with Films about a month ago at the Chinese Theater, and then this weekend I just got back from Santa Fe. We were at the Santa Fe Independent Film Festival.
Oh, fantastic!
So those were our first 2 live audiences, and as a comedy, especially, you just learn so much about your movie when you watch it with an audience and you hear, my ears get really, really sharp when I'm watching that movie with an audience, or any movie I've made with an audience, because you really want to hear what works, what doesn't, and you're always surprised by something. And it's been great. I mean, the reaction has been really great, and people have reacted much the same way you did, which is like, oh my God, you did that in one take? How did you do that in one take? And that's just the joy. That's the fun of it. And it was actually I believe it was Mark's idea. We finished the script and we sort of had our first read through, and he said, hey, you know what? We should try and shoot this in one take. And I went, that's nuts. There's stunts. Are you crazy? And then after about 10 seconds, I went, oh my God, you're right. We should shoot this in one take. And so it's been fun to hear the audience react to that and have them afterwards come up and have the same questions that you're having, like, what, how, what, how?
Well, I mean, I do know Andy, who plays the woman, and I know she's very capable of it. So it didn't surprise me, you know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, it didn't surprise me that it was Andy when I saw she's
an incredible stunt woman, and the one takeness of it. Part of what didn't scare me about that is I have a big theater background. I grew up in theater. I studied theater. I've directed a lot of theater. Theater is a one take medium. The curtain goes up and you get one take. So I'm very familiar with that sort of pressure and that idea. Mark, who plays the real estate agent, was the co-writer. He has a master's degree in theater. He's very familiar with it. Andy used to do the live action shows at Universal, and so that's a one take medium. And Jeff Budner is the same. He does the Pirates Adventure Show down in Orange County, which is live action. So all of us have a rich history of performing in front of a live audience where you only get one take to get it right and do stunts. And so I felt so comfortable with that cast working that way. And we just treated it like a play. So we rehearsed for about a week and a half.
Oh, nice.
the first like 7 days of rehearsal were in another space entirely. And then we had, a couple of days in the space, and we just mimed the destruction. Like, okay, this is where that's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Hopefully it'll happen. And then we rehearsed for a day with camera, who came in, and David Chung, our cinematographer, had a bunch of really great ideas that enhanced it. Because in a one-take movie, the camera is a major piece of that
you have to choreograph the camera.
Major choreography, right? So he was in, we rehearsed with him for a day and a half, and then even little things like we hid a makeup artist in the set, because they start to get bloody as the thing goes on, and so she would pop out when the camera's looking one way and add a little blood, and then hide again when the camera would come back. So it was really fun. It just felt like we were making a play, which for me was very familiar and very fun.
Fantastic. So we already talked about not having a sequel, but what's your next next adventure?
The next adventure is a kind of a previous adventure. So the last film we had at VFF was a short film called Evie. And we have now written a feature version of that. It was sort of a proof of concept for our feature. And so we've been working with a producer that we met at a film festival 2 years ago when Evie was on the film festival circuit. We've been working with this producer for about 2 years, just dialing in that feature script. And we're just now finishing that process of the development. And now she's ready to take it out and work on financing it. So hopefully in the next year, we'll be shooting the feature version of Evie, which was at VFF 2+ years ago.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, any last words before we sign off?
No, I honestly
give us your socials. You got to give us your
socials, of course. You can my production company is called Upstart Crow Films. So you can find Upstart Crow Films on Instagram and Facebook. And then me, I'm Mike Peebler. There's only one other Mike Peebler in the whole world. So Mike Peebler is an easy one to find on Facebook, and it's at @mpeebler on Instagram. And yeah, I'm just so tickled. It really makes me so happy that you're a filmmaker and you watched the movie and it didn't occur to you that it was one take because you were just watching the movie. That's from my joy from this interview is walking away with like, yes, we did that. That's a huge success.